In this episode of In the Loop, weather can be unpredictable, but experts are getting better at detecting severe storms and potentially saving lives.
The sound wave hits it and comes back, and the return is what is converted to the distance.
Plus, is virtual reality the future, or is it more like a fad? Our Next Level series dives in.
There's this fidelity and this immersion that comes out of that just really changes how you see people.
This is In the Loop. I'm Christian Bryant. Before we get to those stories, we want to start tonight's show by talking about something many of us have probably walked past at some point in our lives: public memorials. Historically, and across different societies, humans have often collectively honored momentous occasions or individuals through public shrines, monuments, statues, and plaques. Think of the famous Washington Monument, built to honor President George Washington's contributions to the country, or Mount Rushmore, which honors Washington again with 3 other presidents past, or even the World War memorials. Those are some of the iconic monuments and memorials in this country, but they also share another common theme.
They were all about glory, prestige, power, authority. And so in some sense, memorials have always projected this aspect.
That's Sarosh Anklasaria, an architect and educator at Carnegie Mellon University's School of Architecture. He told us about how public architecture and monuments have shifted over time from depicting victories of war and other religious or political figures to common ideas and themes affecting our modern society. Anklasaria calls them counter-memorials.
And I think that this kind of contemporary notion of the counter monument or the counter memorial is really interesting and important, because it is all about not projecting state power, but rather about the stories of the victims and about even a certain destabilization of the traditional narrative of history, which is, of course, always written from the victor's standpoint.
Think of the 9/11 Memorial in New York City, which honors lives lost to the 2001 terrorist attack and its aftermath. Or the different public art pieces inspired by the 2020 police murder of George Floyd and protests that followed. All of those public memorials serve as reminders of history and how society has been shaped by events in the past, and often serve as a tribute to those we have lost or continue to lose. But as much as public memorials can be iconic, they can also be problematic. As society evolves, so do our values, which can sometimes lead to a push for change in who and what gets publicly memorialized. Take the debate over statues of Confederate generals as an example. Many of them have been the subject of calls for removal across the country, but it hasn't always been a unanimous decision. While many believe the ideals they represent are unacceptable and need to be torn down, others think the monuments and statues are a vital part of their community's history and culture. Although many memorials and monuments remind us of a painful time, they are also a reminder of the work that remains ahead.
The most powerful thing art and architecture can do through the counter monument or the counter memorial is to make us think and to create practice and to engage us in participating in the kind of politics of our time.
Like work on preventing school shootings and mass gun violence, for example. Wednesday will mark 10 years since the Sandy Hook school shooting. After murdering his mother at their home, a shooter gunned down 26 children and 6 adults at the elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut, before taking his own life. It was one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history, one of the first ugly signs of the larger problem we've yet to get a grip on a decade later. Newsy's Sam Eaton visited the memorial built after the shooting to explore how the site honors the lives lost to that shooting and continues to inspire debate around gun safety.
As you see the names of all the educators and the children engraved in the granite surrounding the memorial, it just brings to life each individual, and it gives meaning to their families, and it's for solace and certainly for prayer and meditation. Chase Kowalski is the little boy that lived in our house, our first home in Sandy Hook. There's so many stories of so many people that were in the school that day. Olivia Engel's dad served on the commission with Brian Engel. It's a small town. People know each other. Everybody knows each other in this town, it seems. This has been a labor of love. We've been on this for 9 years. It was very, very difficult. We spent many, many nights just coming up with a mission, coming up with what are we looking for in a memorial. And I've spoken to so many of the families, and they're so appreciative of what we've been able to deliver for them. It's what they had hoped for.
There were a few parents who asked for a lot of some purple in the landscape, because the children, there were a few kids who that was their favorite color. So these are beautiful asters that even in winter still offer beautiful texture. I think that when people connect with nature, they have a better opportunity to connect with themselves and with their heart and to really reflect. So I think that's what makes this memorial especially beautiful.
We looked at over 17 sites in Newtown, and out of the 17 sites, interestingly enough, this is the very first site we looked at, and we rejected it because we felt at the time it was too close to the school, too close to the horrible event. We had to look further. We came full circle back to this site. And the day we visited it was a balmy fall day. We heard the children on the playground laughing and running and jumping and doing what kids do. And we said, this is it. This site spoke to us.
And so I think having a memorial to the Sandy Hook families helps to ground this kind of tragedy in reality, so that hopefully we can begin to make progress. Something, just do something. And hopefully, you know, in another 10 years, we'll be standing here and we'll be able to say that we have made progress and that these kinds of tragedies are less and less and less.
And I know every time I come here, I still have goosebumps. I wish we didn't have to be here. That's all I can say, I guess. I wish we didn't have to have this. The fact that we do, I think we did it right. And I think it served its purpose too, and it will in years to come.
All right, many thanks for that reporting, Sam. Up next, we're exploring tech and virtual reality, looking into what the future might hold for our growing virtual worlds. That's right after a quick break, so see you in a few.